Hello, Red Visor here, and I am in Muscat, which is the capital of the Sultanate of Oman. Yes, I've found somewhere that is actually hotter than Las Vegas, plus about 90% humidity as well. Anyway, talking about hot places, we're now going to hot-foot it to the Arches of Whitney Villa for the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. Enjoy.
Thank you. Living in Las Vegas starts now. Barely. Ooh, Dada needs a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada. That groovy little podcast that gives you a true first-person look into what it's like to call Sin City your home. The Living in Las Vegas podcast. Here we go. And now your host, a man who clearly needs some kind of introduction, otherwise you wouldn't know who he was.
Hey, brother Scott.
Mr. Scott Whitney. Hey, everybody. Welcome to... Hey, I'm glad hear that? I'm in a casino. Welcome to the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. How about that? Hey, by the way, congratulations, because you are watching or listening to the longest running podcast about Las Vegas that actually originates from Las Vegas, which means I'm not only going to talk about what it's like to live here, but we're going to talk about our adventures on the Strip, downtown, Fremont Street, other cool places here in the Valley. And by the way, if you are a visitor, if you're a tourist, if you're a fan of our fair city, guess what? This show is like your own secret handshake to all things cool and groovy. Hey, we're live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time at vegasvideonetwork.com/live. Again, that's vegasvideonetwork.com/live. I'd invite you to be a part of the show. And listen, it's not just because it's fun to watch stuff live, like you should have saw what happened about 5 minutes ago. But you get to hang out with some very cool people in the live chat. We got people from all over the place, from Vegas and Henderson and Oregon, Michigan, Minnesota, Ontario, Canada. We got Austin, Texas, Florida, Redmond, Washington, California, New York, Arizona, Maryland. All these people are hanging out in the live chat. But you get to be a part of the show, and this show is a perfect example of that. I'll explain in a minute. But there's also a bonus to being in the live chat. We start streaming and broadcasting the show before we actually record the show. So you get a little pre-show glimpse of what's going on. But the real shit show happens after the show. So once we're done recording, we spend probably, you guys, another 30, 45 minutes doing post-show stuff. And while we're pretty open with our opinions on the show, I can promise you the content that happens in the post-show is significantly darker. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Whitney. Konnichiwa, buenas noches. Cheers. How you doing, hot stuff? I am the proprietor of the Vegas Video Network. So on behalf of the network, thanks for watching this show. And also thanks for watching all the shows on the Vegas Video Network. Over and under, this is another free-for-all where we're going to let the live chat kind of dictate what we do. Last time I was exactly on it. So we're going to go 65 and a hook. And welcome in the live chat, new live chatter, Smoochie Vegas. Smoochie Vegas comes from us from Canada. She's a French-Canadian, quote, chubby middle-aged housewife. Her words, not ours. She discovered us on YouTube, but surprisingly enough, she will not tell us her real name. Any guesses why that might be? Maybe she's a spy? Perhaps she's an assassin? Maybe she works at MGM Marketing, is in charge of the new parking stuff. I think that might be it. Anyways, welcome, Smoochie. And always thanks to Stuart, our international man of mystery, for his introduction. Stuart is roaming the world doing nothing. He's basically on our payroll. We fly him around the world, and all he does is introductions for the Living in Las Vegas podcast. It's pretty exciting, really. right. Hey, this is going to be a pretty interesting show. Also on today's show, we're going to be getting our very first video from Rosie the intern. That's right. She came in here. She's like, hey, I just kind of want to be a helper bee. Next thing you know, she muscles her way in, and she's doing a video review of a new restaurant. We'll get more of that. And also coming up later, pretty excited about that, Brett Grant returns. He sent us a video. I had a chance to talk with him at some length a couple days ago. He sent a video as well. We'll be playing Brett's video coming up a little bit later in the show. But today, right now, free for all. This is an example of where the live chat takes over and tells me what they want to talk about. No topic is off limits. I'll take any and all questions. And we begin from Mike Q in the live chat, who asks, does the $20 sandwich work at Four Queens? So the $20 sandwich, or the $20 technique, that's when you take a $20 bill and you sandwich it between your credit card and your driver's license, and you hand it to the person working at the desk when you first check in. The intent is that they look at this and go, wow, you are awesome, and I will upgrade. And you usually ask in some sort of clever but clear way. If you have an option for an upgrade, that'd be great. Will it work at the Four Queens? I think the real question, and this may have come up a couple times in the live chat, is do you want it to work at the Four Queens? I don't know. You're trying to upgrade into bigger and better places. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't really know what the room options are at the Four Queens, but let's pretend, if you will. By the way, the live chat is already providing feedback on what they think of the Four Queens. I shall not read that. But if the Four Queens has, let's say, 3 or 4 classes of rooms, and you have booked yourself in the lowest class of room, which I believe is in the backyard, on the back side, it'll work anywhere, as long as they have. First of all, don't be a dick, be pleasant, be polite. If they have the availability, I've never seen it not work. And if they don't have availability, I've seen where I got something in return for that, because here's what usually happens. They'll look, and if they don't have any place, they'll try to give you the $20 back. You should refuse that money. I mean, basically, my thinking is, if they've put some effort in, like I had one guy spend, it must have been 15, 20 minutes trying to find a room. This was at MGM. And he couldn't do it. There was just nothing there. So he tried to give it back, and I'm like, no way, man. I've never seen anybody work so hard and not be able to make it happen. But, geez, you worked pretty hard. Yeah, keep the 20. It's fine. I appreciate the effort. Ended up, I got a bunch of comps for meals and for drinks. Well, a lot more than $20 worth. So, I say try it, although I'm not sure I would try it at Four Queens. Airport Limbo wants to know, what's your opinion of Top Golf? There are very few times when something new comes into Las Vegas and does well right out of the gate. Top Golf began their PR press long before they built this thing, which is in the back of MGM, basically. And they knocked it out of the park. I have not been there yet, which surprises me, but I have heard nothing but fantastic things about it. As a matter of fact, Alan Perry, who's in the live chat, was there this weekend, as I understand it. And so it's great if you're a golfing fanatic, but actually they play to folks who don't know anything about golf. They have lots of bars and large screen TVs and musical performance venues, several of them. I know of a couple places that are looking at performing there. Ted's telling me in the live chat they have free pools with flat screens all over the place. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. It's a big thing for corporations as well. There are a number of people in the corporate world who use it as a corporate outing. So, yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm looking forward to go there. I just haven't had a chance to get out there yet. But I will absolutely go there, and I expect to have a really good time, quite frankly. All right. Smoochie Vegas, our spy or MGM Grand marketing director. How do you explain to people the differences between the Strip and downtown and maybe off Strip? Well, this is interesting in that, well, I mean, it's the obvious are, what the physical locations, but there's a vibe difference. So it really depends on what somebody is looking for as to how I would describe each of the areas. If you've never been to Vegas and you're coming to Vegas for the first time, you must go to the Strip and you have to stay on the Strip. You just got to do it because that's where the power of Vegas, the seat of power in Vegas, really lives on the Strip. There's no question about it. The best shows are there. The best hotels are there. The best restaurants there. Arguably the best bars are there. They've got the best stuff. So you've got to go there. However, there's a segment of people out there who like to see how things used to be. And also like a less glitzy, glamoury thing. And that is absolutely downtown. And when most people refer to downtown, they're really talking about Fremont Street Experience. But there's more to it than that. Right? Fremont Street Experience, FSE, is outstanding. It's great. But there are other places we've talked about. For instance, El Cortez is a really neat property. Gold Spike is doing some pretty neat stuff. And it's a very, very different vibe. It's first of all, much less expensive. It used to be a bit more Wild West in that you could walk around underneath the canopy with anything that you buy drink-wise. It's a little bit controlled now, and there's a lot of controversy about why that might be. But the downtown vibe from a visitor's perspective is mostly the casino thing. There's even more to it than that. But this is not for somebody who's visiting, for 3.5 days every 5 years, quite frankly. But if you're someone who comes to Vegas more often, yearly or multiple times a year, like many of the people in the live chat do, well then, checking out downtown beyond just Fremont Street or the Fremont Street Experience, I think plays. So Fremont East, which, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, nobody went down there. It wasn't safe, quite frankly. And then the downtown cocktail room and the Griffin, were the first two bars that actually planted a flag in Fremont East and said, we're going to try to do good work. And they're both very different bars. We've talked about them both on the show, but they're good. They're good in their own niche. And they kind of they were downtown before downtown was cool. And then it built from there. And we've seen a couple, we've seen we've seen bars and restaurants come and go down there. But if you go down to Fremont East now, it's a completely different animal. It's busy. It's got great restaurants, great bars, good crowds. It's fun. It's vibrant. They've done a very, very good job there. They've got a lot of problems there for people who live there. I don't think it's still very sustainable for people who live in downtown. I mean, where's the nearest Vons or Safeway or grocery store? And they have a real problem with that. That tends to be problems with a lot of places that try to build to be cool. This is like Lake Las Vegas. Where's the nearest grocery store? I think it's 30 minutes away. That's ridiculous. So they still have to kind of figure out how to allow people to live there. But it's a much more enjoyable place to go. I enjoy taking people down there, both Fremont Street Experience and Fremont East. And there's a lot of people in the live chat who are complaining about a variety of people in the downtown world. A lot of Derek Stevens issues there. Derek runs the D and also owns basically Fremont Street Experience now from First Street West. That's all of his property. So there's some people concerned with that. But yeah, I think it's great. And then the other thing is, this again, it depends on how often you come to Vegas. But if you're somebody who really wants to experience what locals experience, well, then you have to go off strip, and that doesn't mean downtown. That means in the suburbs, because there's some really neat things going on there. From the outdoorsy stuff, which when you think of me, you think of those things. But like Red Rock, go to Red Rock if you've got the time and just check it out. They've got a really great loop. I think it's 17-mile loop, and it's they've got a great visitor center. But then you just kind of look at Red Rocks and stuff, and it's like, wow, this is pretty neat. And if you're a hiker type, it's a great place. And Mount Charleston is just a special place, quite frankly. When we first moved here, back in 2005, we did our first trip to Mount Charleston, and it was winter, and there was snow on the ground, and they've got the lodge up there, and it's a pretty special place. And we're like, man, it would be kind of neat to own a cabin up here. I'm like, how much can that be? Let's get us one. Well, they're expensive, so that's the downside. But there's skiing up there, snowboarding up there. It's pretty special. And then, just the restaurants and bars, like at Summerlin, there's some pretty neat places. Green Valley has some neat stuff. And then the local casinos. Green Valley Ranch is a nice place. Arguably one of the best casinos in all of Las Vegas, whether it's on the Strip or anywhere, is Red Rock Casino, which is in the Summerlin area in Charleston and 215. It's $1 billion casino. They spent $1 billion when they first built it in 2005 or 6 or whenever it was. That was $1 billion then. And man, I'll tell you what, it's a gorgeous property. As a matter of fact, Palace Station, which is a property on Sahara, I just saw some drawings for an upgrade that's going to be happening there. And basically, they're going to it looks like they're going to glue on a Red Rock onto Palace Station, which is interesting. So I think Vegas has much more than people realize. I mean, the common question a lot of people is, do you live on the Strip? But the truth is, if you're only coming here like most people, most people really only care about Vegas 2 weeks a year. The week before they get here and the week they're here. And then they don't really care much until the next time. The people who watch this show or listen to this show is the exception to that primarily. A much different audience, an audience who comes here a lot or is thinking about moving here. But for most people, they just kind of want to get in and do got to do my Cirque du Soleil, got to go see an A-list restaurant and gamble a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But if you've got the time, I'll tell you what, man, there's some neat things to do that are off the beaten path. Okay, next up, Steve I wants to know, will we see Rosie co-host soon? Like I said, you look at Rosie, she seems innocent enough, but she comes in, demands that she wants to do a video. Oh, sure, she's been helpful, but good God, man. So I guess maybe her first audition will be today. We've got a video of her coming up where she reviews an upcoming restaurant here. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point she may come in and co-host, but we'll see. And by the way, don't tell her. She doesn't need that. Her ego's already just monstrous. Okay, Pops, best day and worst day of the year to be in Las Vegas. By the way, I don't know if you could hear that, but that was Rosie doing the evil laugh in the live chat. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Best day and worst day. Well, I think there is something pretty magical about New Year's Eve in Las Vegas. I have come here on vacation for New Year's. Stayed on the Strip at Aladdin when it was Aladdin. It's Planet Hollywood now. And had one of the best New Year's ever. Saw a comedy show. And just hung out and just had a ball. This is when Melissa and I were dating. This is like 2000, 2001 or so. I've spent many, as in 3, New Year's on Fremont Street. And I've talked about, in the past, the issues with Fremont Street experience have been the panhandlers and the beggars and stuff like that. And New Year's stops that. They put a fence around it, and you got to pay to get in. And that's a barrier of entry that some people can't do, and if you can afford $40, you're in there. And I've had a really good time there. I've spent holidays here, New Year's here at friends' places that had a view of the Strip and got to watch the fireworks. New Year's Eve is pretty special here for sure. I think the worst day to be here, I think the obvious answer would be New Year's Eve. First, the downside with all that is it's cold here. People complain about the weather in regards to the summer here. It gets hot in the summer. It's cooling off now. So what are we? It's mid-September. It's 85, 90 or so, I think, today. It won't reach 100 again for the rest of the year. So what you now hear is me crying because I missed that. But it gets pretty damn cold here in the winter, below freezing at night. Water freezes kind of thing. Pools will sometimes freeze over. It has snowed here before. And if you don't like crowds, then you don't want to be here on New Year's Eve because it's crowded. Imagine, if you will, shoulder-to-shoulder people on the Strip, because that's what New Year's Eve is on the Strip. And by the way, it's the exact same thing at Fremont Street. If you're down there under the canopy, by the way, it's warmer under the canopy than it is on the Strip, right? Because that canopy creates a blanket of some kind. But you are, in essence, shoulder to shoulder there as well. So if crowds are a problem, then you will not like being here on New Year's Eve. But again, if you dig the whole special New Year's Eve kind of thing, and you really want to be with a boatload of people who are celebrating their asses off, this is pretty cool. Oh, by the way, another really great day here is Halloween. Halloween is done right in Las Vegas. I really like it here. And I would also say that probably the best place to go for Halloween, if you just want to be out and among folks, is Fremont Street Experience. They do some really good shows, themed shows on the stages that they produce themselves as opposed to bands. But they also have, people on Halloween night, people are dressed up, and you're going to see some amazing costumes down on Fremont Street. So both of those are good. By the way, Nosy Rosie suggests Fright Dome. I guess we're now doing some PR for Halloween. More on that later. Okay, next up, Brian, what is your favorite Vegas-themed movie, and have you had a chance to check out the filming of the newest Bourne movie or The Trust? Okay, let me go backwards. I did not see the filming of the newest Bourne movie. They did close off the street on my studio to do some video shoots there. A viewer of our show was in the movie. He was in it. I think I saw him. I think he was in for about a half a second. He was out of focus. It was pretty cool. I saw the new Bourne movie, by the way, and I thought it was not nearly as good as his first couple. It was a little slow. The joke among Vegas people is there's a part where he's racing down the Strip, and cars are moving, and and everybody's like, there's no way that could happen. That's bumper to bumper about that time at night. So it's a lie. Best Vegas theme movie. Casino is fantastic. Love that movie. But there's a couple other ones. The Cooler is a very dark movie. So The Cooler is about a guy who is a cooler. What's a cooler? So if somebody gets real hot, playing cards or roulette or whatever, what they do is they take a cooler, which is a human, and they put him next to him. And what's supposed to happen is that guy's got bad luck, and the bad luck radiates off of him and cools the guy out. So William Macy played the cooler. Alex Baldwin played his boss. And I tell you, it's a great movie. It's dark as shit. And I forget the woman lead, but she's a really good actress. Here's a tip from your buddy Scott, though. Don't watch The Cooler as the movie you all watch after Christmas at the house with your family, including your mom, your kids, because that movie is not for children, and it's not the movie you want to be watching with mom hanging out, okay? But if you kind of want to see the seedier side of Las Vegas, check out the cooler. Other than that, yeah, Mary, look at that, Maria Bello. She's awesome. But Casino, pretty hard to beat that movie. I actually like Ocean's 11, the newest version of Ocean's 11. I like that movie a lot. I actually like Ocean's 13 as well, which was also in Vegas, but I liked Ocean's 11 a lot. That's one of the great things about Vegas is that all these movies about us, and we get to look and go, yeah, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong. And it's pretty cool. But hey, go check out the cooler. I promise you, you will not regret it unless you're watching it with the kids. Airport Limbo wants to know, do you have any tips for first-time CES attendees? Yeah, watch the live stream if there's one available because it's rough. No. Okay, here's the tip. Know where you're going to go. It is monstrous, and it's only going to get bigger given the likely expansion of the convention center. So the convention center is a city block wide, and the whole thing is full of CES stuff. And there's other convention areas elsewhere as well, hotel rooms and the such. So there's a shitload of content, and it depends on what you're going for. For most people, they do not go to watch any of the talks. They're going just to look at the new toys. And like I said, there's a city block of new toys. So pace yourself, wear comfortable shoes. You don't have to do it all in a day, hopefully. But my recommendation is know what you're trying to achieve, because if you're just roaming and looking at the pretty lights and flashy stuff, and I think you're going to get a little out of sorts. By the way, if you're there and you are a buyer or you're a decision maker, you can make appointments with anybody. You should be able to make an appointment ahead of time so you're not going in there waiting around, because this is the thing that pisses most people off about CES. You're waiting around trying to get an answer, and they don't know you from Boo, and they may or may not pay attention to you. So you're just like, hey, well, how about, hey, I just want to ask you a question about this widget. Make an appointment, sit down with the sales folks or the marketing folks or whoever you want to sit down with, and take the time to ask the questions that you want to ask. Okay, Danny wants to know, who would like to see Niche to Profit back on the VVN? I would. Okay. And that was unanimous. The chat is blowing up. Okay. Next up, Airport Limbo wants to know, what bar would you not want to be caught in? Any bar where I have a tab that has not been paid. Yeah, any bar. I really haven't been in a scary bar here. I've been in a couple dive bars, but nothing scary. I think, well, I'm not sure if that's a question about, a threatening bar or a pretentious bar or a too expensive bar. That can be taken in multiple ways. Usually I don't walk into bars that I haven't already done some kind of recon on, so I have a general idea of what's going on there. But I've never really been, I guess I've been disappointed by the service of some bars. Oh yeah, I've got it. Look, at the Mirage. What was the name of that bar that had terrible service? Well, see, I forgot it. It was a brand new bar Jackie took us to, and there was a band that she wanted us to see. We sat there, wasn't busy, for 15, 20 minutes, no service. And then when I went up to the bar, he was, Mr. Beard and cool beard guy. Took forever to get him to, pay attention. So that's the bar I will not be caught in because they were not cool. Okay, Danny also wants to know, what's your favorite slot machine? I like slot machines. I don't play them, not because I think they're evil, but because I know how they work. Especially on the Strip. Just a heads up, guys. The reason why they're building those billion-dollar buildings is because you lose on slot machines. But I'm a fan of lights and music and sounds and vibrations, and now there's a couple of like IGD has 3D stuff now. It's all pretty cool. I have two that I really like a lot. I like Batman, and I also like in timeliness Willy Wonka. I've always liked the shell of that. I just think it's a really cool looking cabinet. They're called, and it's not a particularly special magical thing, but I've just always liked the look of the Willy Wonka one. Actually, there's another one, and I don't know who makes this. It's a big one. They're usually against the wall, and it's super wide. It's like 4 wide, and it's fish swimming. And I don't know what it is, but I like fish, and I just think that's just a very cool slot machine. So those are my 3 favorite. Okay, our final chat question before we take a break is from Binky. Binky wants to know, how do you feel about a monorail extension to Mandalay Bay? Oh, I do have one more question. I will get that one, Jimmy. How do I feel about a monorail extension to Mandalay Bay? Well, here's the deal. The biggest problem with the Strip has always been transportation, getting from one place to another. It's not easy to do that. The monorail is on the backside of the East casinos, and it's way on the backside of the East casinos. So the monorail in and of itself, by itself, isn't used that often because it's just it's out of sight, out of mind. A lot of people don't know about it. People who do know about it and have decided to use it, they kind of like it. It's not expensive, and it works fine. It's never been profitable, but it's a neat thing. The problem is it only goes from Westgate to MGM and stops there. So the idea is, will it cross the street? Will it cross the Strip and head on down to Mandalay Bay? So those kind of proposals have been around for, I don't even know how long, years and years. They come and they go and they come and they go. What do I think about it? I think it's a good idea. But I think it's kind of putting lipstick on a pig. It never was very well done. Here's the other problem with that, and why I guess it could happen, but if they do that, then if they ever do decide to take it down to the airport, that's going to increase the cost significantly, given it's gone across the street around, it's got to come back, and it's got to go around much longer distance to get to the airport. So I've always thought they should take it to the airport. Everybody thinks they should take it at the airport. In the beginning, it was stopped by the taxi authority. The taxi authority has always been very strong here in Vegas, but they have weakened, as is evident by Lyft and Uber, and we actually have an email coming up that speaks about that. So I don't know. Okay, what is actually Ted is writing? Monorail to airport would simply split in 2 at MGM. Okay, well that's different. That's interesting, but that of course increases the cost, doubles the cost arguably if they did that. But that would make sense. Yeah, sure. Okay. I just think that the overall location of it, and it doesn't get fixed, but the overall location is just not great. It's out of, like I said, it's out of sight, out of mind. People don't know. I bet you if you ask most tourists who come to Vegas, especially tourists who are not here for a convention, because if you're going to a convention, the monorail goes right by the convention center. But most people, I don't think they know that there is a monorail. And the truth of the matter is, as long as you're not afraid to walk a little bit, or given Uber and Lyft, you don't really need it as much as you might think you do. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. This episode of Living in Las Vegas is brought to you by the Vegas Video Co-op. Because your online presence is often your only chance to begin a meaningful sales conversation, please take a moment and visit vegasvideocoop.com. Highlight your business, start a talk show, or unleash your genius for a low monthly fee. Use promo code LILV for a special discount to our viewers and listeners. That's vegasvideocoop.com. Again. Axl Rhodes is a pussy. Okay, time for listener email. It's part of the show where we have people send us email. They send it to onairq at livinginlv.com. Right over there, onairq at livinginlv. Typically, if it's a male type, I'll read it. If it's a female, my co-host. I don't have a co-host, so I'm going to read it all. I do want to say one thing before we do that. I was going to answer Jimmy's question live chat question. Is it true that off strips pay better, or is it a wise tale? There is one thing that you can absolutely, positively bet on, and that is the strip has the worst odds for everything in Vegas, whether it's table games, card games, or slot machines. The strip is the worst place to gamble if you're trying to make any kind of money consistently. Whereas off strip, much better. And by the way, you'll see sometimes where like, there's a couple casinos I've walked in where it says, our games pay back over 100%. Well, shit, that sounds pretty cool. Why don't we do that? Yeah. What they should say parenthetically is not all of them are over 100%. One of them or two of them is over 100%. Well, that's cool. Which one? Yeah, we're not going to tell you that part. Okay. Listen to email. This email comes from Mike G. from Ixonia, Wisconsin. And Mike writes, Hey, Scott. I just finished watching episode 278 and felt compelled to share my most recent experience with getting around in Las Vegas. You were talking about the shuttle from the coast properties to the Strip. Those shuttles make their last pickup at midnight at the High Roller. That's good to know. My son and daughter-in-law visited your fair city in July and got long-hauled by a cab. A trip from the airport to the link cost $30. The cab took them out I-15. So real quick, what long haul means, and it's illegal, by the way. So when you leave the airport and you're going to a Strip property, unless you tell them to, they should make a left and go down Paradise and go towards the Strip. Long hauling, they make a right, go under a tunnel which goes south away from the Strip properties, and then they go around on 15 and come back down. That is called long hauling, and it is absolutely illegal in Las Vegas. So if that happens to you, before you do anything else, you should just say, I realize that you're long hauling me, and I'm going to speak to the taxi authority about you, period. They should not do that. $30 to link? Ouch. My son swore he would never use a cab again. He's not the first. While on the Strip, he got a coupon for $5 off per ride for 10 rides from LiLV and decided to try them. He was very impressed with them and recommended it to me. My wife and I tried LiLV in August, and it has changed the way we will do Vegas in the future. We always rent a car, and it costs a minimum of $300 for a week. I will never rent a car again in the area that has LiLV. I never spent more than $9 for a ride between the Gold Coast and the Strip before the $5 coupon was applied. We never waited more than 4 minutes for a pickup. I had the model of the car, the driver's name, and the license plate of the car. Every driver has a rating. You can get an estimate of the cost before you're requested a pickup, and no cash changes hands. I can get a lot of rides for $300 at $10 a trip. You can get dropped off at one place and get picked up at another. The best part is I don't have to deal with traffic. I don't have to pay for parking. MGM was $14. And most importantly, I can drink. I would be interested in what experiences your audience has had with ride shares in Vegas. Thanks, Mike G. from Ixonia, Wisconsin. Yeah. So thanks, Mike, for the email. Yeah, I told you this before. When Uber came in first. When they came in, I was ecstatic. The first time I ever used Uber was in Boston, and I just thought it was magic. I mean, what the hell? These are great cars. And now this was the black cars they have in Boston, but the whole concept was pretty terrific. And as a reminder, Uber was here. They were open for about 12 hours, and they got shut down. The taxi authority was able to take advantage of their influence at our government and was able to stop that. So fast forward, I think it was about a year, and they finally came to be. And I said that it would affect the taxi authority. It most certainly has. In Los Angeles, taxi cab business went down 25%, directly related to Uber and LiLV. I expect they probably see that or more here. And I also said that I expect drunk driving to go down. That has been reported elsewhere. I haven't seen a report here, but I'm absolutely positive it is. Uber, I have not done Lyft. I've done Uber 2 or 3 times now. It's been fantastic. As a matter of fact, back to the CES thing. I used Uber to get to CES. It was fantastic. They had a Uber parking lot in the front. So when I left, and I went in and said, I want to get an Uber, and I basically said, click, and they said, go to stall 1A, and your Uber person's already there waiting for you. That's fantastic. So if I were the taxi people, I might be a little worried. And by the way, they have tried to respond. They've got their own apps now. They're doing commercials now that talk about basically having an Uber-like response. It's too late. One of the immutable laws of marketing is it's better to be first than to be best. But if you're first and best, you win. And that's what both Uber and Lyft has done. Okay, some real quick stories. Got lots going on here. First, again, thanks to Stuart for the intro. If you want to do an intro video, super easy to do. Just use your camera, put it in landscape mode, so it's the wide mode there. And you can say anything you want. Hi, I'm Dave Smith from Effingham, Illinois, and you're watching the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. You can say something funny. You can talk about where you're at. We really appreciate that and have gotten some nice feedback from people who enjoy seeing the people that we talk about on the show, either in the live chat or frequent contributors. So again, thanks to Stuart. Thanks to all of you guys who've done that, and keep them coming, folks. Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. About a month or so ago, I got an invitation to go see the new Benihanas over at Fashion Show. And I wasn't able to make it, but thank God I've got Rosie the intern. It was pretty special, pretty spiffy. And I said to her, okay, Rosie, we're going to put you to work. I want you to go and do the review and tell me what you think. And guess what? She did it. She came back and we shot this video. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rosie the intern.
Hi, I'm Nosy Rosie of the Vegas Video Network.
Yay!
This past Wednesday, while Scott worked on the sales workshop, I had the privilege of representing the Vegas Video Network at the grand opening of the new Benihana restaurant located at the Fashion Show Mall. All in all, it was a great experience, one that perhaps even Scott and Pimpin' Wayne could agree upon. If you're anything like me, you may be wary of chain restaurants. You may even worry that a chain restaurant may lack the unique appeal you need to impress your friends and loved ones on the Las Vegas Strip. But fear not with Benihana. I must say I was pleasantly surprised. Of course, Benihana's is known for their shrimp tossing, fancy knife work, and onion volcanoes. But beyond this, there are a few things that set this restaurant apart. First, a generous happy hour with affordable, tasty drinks. Happy hour is 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. For $7, I had a Mai Tai and an exotic mojito. I also enjoyed the sake. Second, don't skip the sushi. There's a variety of sashimi and great sushi rolls. I enjoy the Emperor's Roll, topped with a very thin slice of New York strip steak and available only at this location. The spicy kiss is my favorite. Made from salmon, fun to order, and delicious. Finally, a chain restaurant goes above and beyond when it invests in the local community. I was impressed to learn that the Fashion Show Mall location, Benihana's, offers ongoing sushi rolling classes for the children of our local St. Jude. Many of the staff were proud to call themselves native Las Vegans, including our chef, who is also a zipline enthusiast. He recommends the Rio zipline. Last but not least, I was impressed to learn that each chef at Benihana's develops his or her own specialty tricks, meaning that each time you return, there's a different show. Our chef's specialty was scripting with egg whites. Really, writing with egg whites. Check it out.
This is pretty cool. Wow. Camera work by Rosie.
Isn't that fun? Scott, you really missed out. Hey, if any of you want to take Scott out, here are a few tips. Be mindful of parking. The Fashion Show Mall locks its doors at 9 p.m., making it tricky to re-enter the building if you've parked there. Second, Benihana's outdoor seating section is connected to its bar, thus it doesn't allow guests under 21. Finally, know what you're getting into. Allow enough time to have fun. The dining experience is upwards of 2 full hours. All right, back to you, Scott.
Right? Nicely done, Rosie. Pretty good for her first time, wouldn't you say? I would say absolutely. Very good. By the way, I'm a big fan of Benihana's, so the fact that they've got one on the Strip, I'm in. I think she's right. I think the parking issue there is bullshit. But man, I thought you did a great job. So again, thanks to Rosie. She'll be doing more of these as we send her out there on behalf of the Vegas Video Network to find out all the groovy things that are out there. And by the way, the live chat is blowing up. CB in Wisconsin says she's not pretty good. She kicked ass. That's good. All right. Next up. Since Brett has taken leave, I receive something every week from folks asking about Brett. What's he up to? How's he doing? Well wishing and all those good stuff. Had a chance to speak with Brett at some length today or a couple days ago, and he was excited to send a video, and he sent it to be the opening video, like Stuart just did, but it was long, and I wanted to give it the attention that I think it deserved. So, folks, the return of Brett Grant, everybody.
Hi, and welcome to, what the fuck's the name of this show again? It's been so long I can't remember. Oh, it's the Living in Las Vegas podcast. I'm Brett Grant. At one time, I was a host of the show, along with Mr. Scott Whitney, who's over there somewhere. This is Grant Manor, with a window and a door, and a loud German Shepherd, loud traffic, and a beautiful day here, as always, in Las Vegas. I caught about 30 seconds of the show last week, and it just pissed me off. Right from the get-go. Now, first, let me give you a little disclaimer. This video might be as bad as anything Danny's produced ever. I mean, it's going to be god-awful. So I'm not really a pro at this. But it's good to see y'all, and thanks for having me back. Anyway, so I'm sitting out here today, and I'm reflecting back on what I heard last week, and Pimpin' Wayne, who I know a little bit, has been helping and hosting the show with Scott and doing it every other week. And they're talking about a long-term contract. A long-term contract? Wait a second. I hosted this damn show for years. Pretty well, I thought. And Scotty always said, hey, Brett, whenever you want to come on back, well, come on back. So about 7.5 years ago, Scott had given me a contract to read. I'm still reading it. I look at this thing. You thought Obamacare was hard to read? Holy shit. It doesn't say anything about compensation in here anyway.
Lies.
Nothing. Not a word of it. Yet there's Pimpin' Wayne pimping his new deal. Hey, pimp you. Papangu. I tease because I care. Anyway, let me get this away. So, all respect, Pimpin', love the show. I'm teasing. I know you know that you know that I know that you know that I know that I'm teasing. To the rest of you guys that do these videos, yeah, you guys do awesome work. Awesome work. As for me, I'm doing fine. I'm hanging in there. I appreciate everybody saying hi. Take care. God bless.
Brett Grant, everybody. The baddest motherfucker I'll ever meet. So, it's clear that he's lost a little bit of weight. So, he's fighting the fight. He's, he was in a clinical trial, and that went down one path, looked pretty good, and it changed. So he's in a different thing now, and he's on some new drugs that look pretty promising. He said that he's seeing some relief, and that's great. Obviously, the drugs have affected his weight a little bit, but I mean, come on, the guy is. Listen, I've known a lot of people. I have more respect for Brett Grant than most. The guy is a fucking stud. He's fighting hard, and he's keeping his sense of humor. I can't tell you how impressed I am by this guy. I'm constantly thinking about him, and I think the world of him, and really enjoyed chatting with him a couple of days ago. It was good catching up, and you know, anytime you want to send a video and tell me I suck, Brett, you are more than welcome to do it. And again, the live chat are wishing him well. Brett's actually in the live chat himself, watching the show. So thanks, Brett, for sending that our way. We appreciate that, and you know, continued good health, my brother. Okay, had a couple visitors to the Vegas Video Network studios the last week. We begin with the good folks we know as the Nudists. Alan and Aaron Perry stopped by the studio last week. And you'll notice that in the picture, I'm showing some level of affection to the Perrys. Not because I like them so much, although I do. It's because they brought gifts. And I like gifts. Gifts are fun. And in this case, the Perrys have indicated something that I have learned about many of our viewers. And that is the gifts I get, which tend to be alcohol-based, are some of the nice drinks I've ever got. So, for example, the Perrys did not bring Crown Royal. Oh, nay. They again brought the XO. It's kind of hard to see that on this. Yeah, but, oh, it's the wrong side. There you go. Good thing you don't have to be smart to run your own company. Yeah, the XO. So, not some purple thing, but some fancy gray bag. And they were nice enough to drop that off to contribute to that. So I will take a shot in thanks to the Perrys. By the way, when you become my age, you don't shoot it like a fucking child. What you do is you sip it and savor the good content. To the Perrys, I say Prost. But I got the Perrys doing that. Then I don't know if you remember Steve the Rhodes over from England. They sent me this super fancy stuff. Neil and Sarah brought some fancy gin as well. And hell, even the Detroit gin was pretty good from Leslie. So hats off to the fancy schmancy people who are the Living in Las Vegas fans. You guys are the best ever. Also joining us was in the studio was our good friends Glenn Santa. There is Glenn. Glenn seems to be in a pretty good mood. And hanging out with myself and with Rosie. If you look in the back there, there's another co-host. Bryce Crossman hiding back there. Crazy. He came by. Oh, I wanted to say about Alan, by the way. Alan is arguably the most inquisitive man I've ever met. He asks a ton of questions. It's really fun to talk to him. By the way, that's the benefit of being retired early. You don't have things to do. You can ask questions. It's pretty cool. Glenn, as a good guy, he and his wife Kelly have joined Melissa and myself for dinner before, and a great couple. And besides hanging out at the studio, we also put Glenn in our $1 billion news set. There you are. There's Glenn on the news set there. Glenn, who is a god among men, according to Lower Third. What's cool about that set is while it looks like $1 million, guess what? Nothing there is real, with the exception of Glenn. Even that desk and the reflection of that desk is what we call a virtual set. So in reality, Glenn right there is sitting on a green screen, and all the things around him are magically put there in real time. Very, very cool. So it's great to have those guys. Hey, if you are in the city, if you're in Las Vegas and you'd like to stop by for your own personal tour of the Vegas Video Network, listen, we certainly appreciate the people who watch and listen to our show. Let me know. Reach out to me. If I can do it, we'll get you in there. But give me some time. You know, if you're going to show up tomorrow, we may not have time for you. But if you know ahead of time, we'll put you on the calendar. We'll show you around. It's our pleasure to do that. Also had a chance this weekend to do a dinner and a show kind of vibe. We're going to start with Clint Holmes' new show. Clint, as many of you might remember, so Clint was one of the shows I talked about when I spoke about marketing mistakes being made by casinos when it comes to entertainment shows. So the background on Clint is, a kind of a big deal in the entertainment world here in Las Vegas. But he's the guy who, he's over at Palazzo. This is the graphic they used of him. And I was saying, he's a good-looking guy, but you look at this, he looks like a mass murderer. This is not a great move for the marketing of a show that, most people outside of Las Vegas aren't going to know who he is. So, and as a matter of fact, Glenn saw that graphic on an elevator or escalator, and he took a picture of it and goes, oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a horrible picture. It's a little rough, which is a damn shame because this guy is, as the kids say, the boss. Let's take a quick look at Clint in action. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Clint's show. It's at the Palazzo. It's called, what's it called? In Between the Lines? Yeah. And here's what I thought about it. So some of the feedback I received about the show prior to going, the two negative things I heard was, A, the dress, the people on the stage, what they were wearing, which I thought that was interesting. That's an interesting thing that you would normally hear. And as you can see, they are, I think, appropriately dressed. Now, Clint is, I believe, the best lyric interpreter in Las Vegas. Probably one of the best I've ever heard. He has a Al Jarreau kind of vibe to him. He does a lot of scat singing. He's the shit. He can really perform. And I can understand why people would be put off if the people behind him weren't dressed at the same level as him. That wasn't the case on the show we saw this weekend, with the exception of the bass player. The bass player was wearing a black T-shirt, and it just didn't go with the suits and the nice looking outfits that everybody was wearing. So that actually is a distraction. And if it were me, I would change that. The other thing is there was some concern about the energy, that there were too many ballads. And as you can see from that show, or that song that we just did, that really wasn't a problem, especially at the top of the show. So at the beginning of the show, great energy. I really had a good time watching him sing, watching the band play, the staging of this place. This is at the Palazzo Theater, which is one of those theaters that is the quintessential Vegas-y thing, right? So it's got the cocktail tables with the 4-up, but it's got some couches and booths, and then some theater seating in the back. It's a really cool setup. And then it's got kind of a whale tail stage, meaning you can come out, the entertainer can come out, and actually you can kind of see it there in that photo, into the group, so much so that that's a picture of Clint during the show. He could literally have just been over and tapped me on the forehead, which is great. It gives you an opportunity to play and have some fun, interact with your audience. I've seen some videos of him bringing people up on the stage. So the energy was good. I felt at the beginning. I thought it tapered off a little bit at the end. Something that happened that I didn't really understand how to interpret it, I guess. At about an hour into the show, he started doing the band intros. Like, where they're playing, they're vamping over and over again. All right, on bass, it's Dave Smith. And then Dave plays. You normally do that towards the very end of the show. Sometimes you do. And it just felt like he was ending the show at an hour. I'm like, that's usually not what happens in Vegas. Usually they give you, 70 to 90 minutes. In fact, it was a 90-minute show. So I thought it was kind of odd that they did that because it was high energy. And then a little bit after the show, or after the intros of the band, it slowed down a little bit. And I think that may be what some other folks who were talking to me might have mentioned about the energy. I would like to see him keep the energy up. They also did some interesting arrangements of songs, but sometimes you can get a little carried away. What's the Billy Joel song, Just the Way You Are? It's a gorgeous song, and he married it with another song, but it was arranged such that it was easy not to remember the actual melody of Just the Way You Are, which is arguably one of the prettiest songs ever written. So I kind of felt like, man, don't be so clever that I don't know what the song is. Shit, you could knock that song out of the park. So I would have liked to have a bit more energy at the end. I think this is a fantastic show. I think it's one of those shows that very much like Frankie Moreno's show that didn't last, it needs to be given runway. It wasn't a full house when we were there. And they have to, the Venetian or the Palazzo, whoever's paying for this, needs to understand that it's going to take time to work this up. He used to, the background of Clint, by the way, is he used to have his own theater at Harrah's. For 6 years, I think he said, the Clint Holmes Theater. Kind of a big deal. And when he opened that in the beginning, it took a while for the crowd, and he was pretty spooked that he was going to get fired. And Harrah's said, pump the brakes, you'll be all right. We're going to build the crowd. And there was an interesting article that Mike Weatherford said about the Frankie Moreno deal, which was, for this to work, you've got to give it 6 months. Partly, the play is you get tourists who do see it, they go back and tell their friends, and then it takes 6 months for those people to get back, and then you start getting momentum. They didn't do that for Frankie. They cut him off basically in 2 weeks. Hopefully that's not going to be the case for Clint, because this is the kind of show where if you appreciate, a guy who can sing like a mother, who's got a band like no other. This is the quintessential Vegas musical show. And there's not a lot of, showy stuff. And actually that brings up a point. I forgot this. There was a couple moments where a visual graphic would make sense, and he used a few towards the back end of the show. Didn't use a lot in the beginning. I don't think I have a picture of this, but if you look at that stage, the blue backstage, that actually, there's a projection that they could put back there. And he used it a couple times. For example, he played a couple original songs, of one of which that spoke about his parents. And there's a picture of he and his parents up there from way, way back when. And it was a nice thing. I think he could use a little bit more of that. I mean, we are in Las Vegas. There's nothing wrong with giving somebody a visual emotional hook along with the storied emotional hook. He also has the opportunity for a meet and greet at the end, which is something that a lot of folks here in Las Vegas do. I think they're screwing that up completely, quite frankly. This is a guy who just spent an hour and a half kicking the shit out of this music. People were digging it. He was funny, by the way. He's, his rapport, by the way, rapport for Clint, rapport for Celine Dion. Clint A, Celine F. Huge difference. He comes out, and he's just kind of like wandering around in the lobby. What they need is a step and repeat wall. Those are those walls with the logos on it. They need to put a step and repeat logo wall up against there so you know where he's going to be, so you can take pictures with him with that branding behind them. This is kind of marketing 101, and they're not doing it. And the lobby in this theater is huge and kind of weirdly shaped. So, like, Clint, can I talk to you about how can I get an autograph, my brother? So I would suggest that they put a step and repeat and make it a little bit easier for folks to say hi to him and say, you're pretty cool. By the way, under the heading of It's a Small World, but I Wouldn't Want to Paint It, right after we went and saw Clint, we took off and decided to head over to Golden Tiki. And guess who we ran into? That's right, the Ivies. Dave and Alicia. And we walked in, and we're just trying to find a place. At the time, it was pretty packed. And we walk in, and Melissa goes, "Hey, that's Dave." And I'm like, "What?" And, Dave's wearing a what's it called, a pork pie hat, and he had his long dreads on. I'm like, "Well, fuck, that's Dave." And so we spent, I don't know, a couple hours just hanging out and catching up. The Ivies are kicking ass. They're living life. Dave's working at a major casino. He's been there for 2 years now. He's their lead graphical design guy. And I don't think I've ever seen him as happy. I seen him when he wasn't happy, when he was trying to do Wicked Pizza. He wasn't real happy there. And he is happy as hell now. He's loving life, and he's in a good mood. And Alicia, same thing. She's in a real good place, and she's kicking ass in her job. She did tease me. They have a big announcement coming up. I could not get her to tell me what it was. But so we'll pay attention to what the Ivies are doing, and if it's something that we can share with you guys, we most certainly will. God, we're already at an hour. Holy Christ. Do I want to do this review? No, I think I'll do that next week. All right, final RQS. I look at you people, and I love you, and I look at you and I think, you know what you should be? I think you should own a strip club. What? There's a lot of money in strip clubs, and there's a lot of strip clubs in Las Vegas. Yeah, but I don't really know that one's available. Guess what? One is available. How would you like to own the Crazy Horse 2? Well, it's for sale, my friends. All right, live chat, here we go. Crazy Horse 2 is for sale, 6,100,000 square feet of property size. Can you guess how much they're trying to sell the Crazy Horse 2 for? I will give you 3 options. The first option is $7.9 million, $8.4 million, $9.1 million. And the live chat has begun. Before I even started, Barb's like, 1 million, 3 million, 1 million. 8.5, 22 million, 7.2, oh my God, 9.1, 7.9. The answer is $7.9 million if you want to buy the Crazy Horse 2. Let's talk a little bit about what is involved in that. Well, for $7.9 million, you get 2.65 acres of prime real estate in Las Vegas. That includes 19.2 thousand square feet of club space. The Crazy Horse 2 property was built in 1972. It was renovated in 2002. By the way, have your property taxes ready, because for the year, you're looking at $26,800. Wait a minute. What's the celebrity connection? Vince Neil's Girls. I used to be in the same property back in August 2012. How much did that cost? Well, many of you guessed the right price back in 2012 when Vince paid $3.5 million for it. Now, I hope you are a builder, Bob, because there's a couple things that need to be fixed with the Crazy Horse 2. They are aware that the following items of deferred maintenance are required. For example, number 1, the roof. 2, electrical. No power to portions of the property from copper theft. Number 3, plumbing, potential sewer issues, and some units without water lines and toilets. Number 4, drainage. And number 5, HVAC, due to some vandalism. All this can be yours for only $7.9 million. Okay, the live chat is now going to go all in together, and they're going to all buy. It's $121. Look at Jimmy just did the math. It's $121 per square foot. That's not bad. That sounds pretty reasonable. It actually sounds so damn reasonable that I'm drinking to it. All right. righty. It's time for Have a Drink on Me. It's part of the show where I show you a picture of a bar or a speakeasy or a lounge that I've been to, and people send in emails. They send those emails to haveadrink@vegasvideonetwork.com. Again, haveadrink@vegasvideonetwork.com. There's stuff that you can win. Oh, I love winning stuff. What might that be? Pops, what can they win?
Let me tell you what you can win this week.
This week's Lucky Haddam winner can choose any one of 3 amazing Scott Whitney guitar CDs, Christmas Acoustic 1, Christmas Acoustic 2, or Jazzathon. Proudly displayed here by Bob, undisputed king of the Video Haddam entry. Or you can choose the comfortable and stylish Vegas Video Network visor like these lucky winners, available in the standard black and sometimes in the rare, hard-to-find red, popular with the ladies and the Russians. Or you can choose the premium prize package. The next time you're going to be in Vegas, you can arrange an evening of sophistication and class with the man himself, the guru of all things Vegas, Scott Whitney. Well, okay, at least drinks, laughs, and some priceless conversation.
Send your entry into Have a Drink at VegasVideoNetwork.com. VegasVideoNetwork.com.
Thank you, Pops. Now, because we're great in giving gods, there's multiple ways to increase multiple opportunities to actually win. You get one entry into our lucky hat if you have a correct answer. By the way, if you are the very first person to do a correct answer, you get another opportunity. If you're in the live chat and sent in a correct answer, then you get another opportunity. If you provide one of those intros like Stuart did, well, then you get yourself an entry as well. Or if you send a video or an image of the Jazzathon CD, quite frankly, if you just send in a video talking about Haddam, we're going to give you another entry as well. By the way, there's great things that happen to those who wait for those who make stuff happen. And that, of course, is if you find yourself with one of them, their visors, and you send that picture into us, guess what happens to you? Magical things. You become a part of the galaxy of God. There's Rosie, who is new, and Mike, and Scott, and Vicky, and Bud, and Alan, and Aaron. They continue to be nudists who don't know the rules, but we still love them all the same. There's Bob and his wife, and Danny, and Shan, not Chen, and Craig, and Glenn. There's Jimmy, 2Gs, and Rob, and we are in Hawaii with Ken. There's Stuart and Christina, whose all babies are because of our music, and Don, and Jackie, and Michael, and Pops, and Sammy at the wall that they should have at Clint's show, and Carol, and a dog, and I can't believe Chris is a bride, and Brett's dad, and your buddy Scott and Wayne, and of course, our good buddy Brett. Yeah, baby. Okay. Song does keep getting longer. All right, 15 out of 17. These hints were all provided by Pimp and Wayne. 15 out of 17, so a little lower than usual. Maybe they're a little harder than we think. By the way, we got a number of entries for the right location, but the wrong place. Here first is the bar from last week, and it was the 107 Sky Lounge at the Stratosphere. Again, the 107 Sky Lounge at the Stratosphere. A lot of folks, thought it was the Air Bar at the Stratosphere, which it was not. Okay, let me entertain you. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. 10. Okay, first up, Jimmy 2Gs. He was actually the number 2 person, but he was the first correct answer. 1 for the correct answer. 1 for being the first. And 1 for being in the live chat. La-da-dee. There you go. Next up, Barb Schotten is from Wisconsin. 1 for the correct answer. 1 for being in the live chat. We just sent your last win. I think Rosie sent it out last week. Is that right, Rosie? And one for the live chat. There we go. And up also, Chet Shotness, one for the correct answer, one for the live chat. Hey, married people, look what the Shotnesses did. They got themselves 2 correct answers for correct answers, and they got themselves in the live chat, and they've now created 4 opportunities to win. Pretty smart. Okay, next up, Steve I, the wise guy from Prescott, Michigan, one for the correct answer. Longtime follower. Steve gives away stuff. He is literally like Santa. And one for the correct answer. Way to go, Steve. Thank you, brother. Listen to this. In the live chat, Chet's like, we still haven't won. Yeah, but your wife's won twice. Pump the brakes, brother. Monica Fagan from Chicago, one for the correct answer. I think Binky is in the live chat. There she is. And Binky is also there. There you go. I see you there, Monica. There you go. Mike Jerzowski. He's Mike G. He's a gentleman who sent the email for the on-air queue. Mike G. Are you in there, Mike? There. Oh, I see some new people in the live chat that I did not recognize. Okay, one for the correct answer. Thank you, bud. Kevin Whip from Canada. There you go. Robert C. Robo68 Pittsburgh hanging out. Let's see. There he is. One for the correct answer. One for 68 being in the live chat. I'm telling you, live chat, besides being a part of the show and dictating stuff and getting to watch the pre and post show, you're doubling your pleasure, doubling your fun. Stuart P., this is because he provided that opening video. Next up, Gary Romberg, Mr. Testy says, the clues were exceptional. Gary, of course, can't be trusted. Aaron Perry, look at that, Aaron. Aaron actually sent an email or sent something that said, let's see, what did she write there? Hold on. Great. Oh, for the love of God. Great. Okay, just trying to live up to our rep. So she sent this picture of them standing out front of Moria's Beach Club. I'm assuming that's topless, which goes along with the whole naked nudist thing. So there she goes. Aaron, one for the correct answer. And what else we got? All right, Rosie. Rosie writes, one for the correct answer. Rosie writes, hello, great show, gentlemen. Wayne, 2 out of 3 of your clues show potential for Haddam mastery. The answer is 107 Sky Lounge at the Stratosphere. Also, super awesome sleuthing with the health department. Great show. Related to tonight's topic, I recently learned that the state of Nevada prohibits children from eating anything less than well-done steak. This applies only to meals ordered from the children's menu. No mid-sirloin for Junior. See you next week. Rosie. Rosie gets 1 for the correct answer. Rosie gets 1 for being in the live chat. Even interns can win on Haddam. Next up, we've got Brian M. from Merced, California. Brian writes, this week's Haddam is level Sky Lounge 107, whatever you call it. So he writes a big joke here. Who wants to hear the joke? Oh, Brian, it's in the live chat. Thanks, Brian. It's a very long joke. If you want to hear it, live chat, I'll read it. Otherwise, I'll just say the punchline. You want the whole joke or the punchline? Let me know, live chat. Meanwhile, while that's going on, Steve Rhodes from the UK wrote... Steve is, by the way, who sent this gin, or brought me this gin. Hey, Scott and Wayne, long time no email. Been trying to go to Vegas cold turkey. I've been trying to go Vegas cold turkey, but have failed miserably. So much saving and planning going on for a possible return in the not too distant future. This week's Haddam is the 107 Sky Lounge. For a change, I didn't have to perform some Google magic. Just looked at my photo from May. He sent the photo, by the way. A good choice for a Haddam. Happy hour and free double-decker rides to the top. Another plus is that they are not shy on the booze. So beware of hanging over the side after taking the walk up. Okay, that's Steve. Thank you, Steve. I'm looking at the live chat. We want whole joke, punchline, whole joke. Okay. This is a 45-minute joke. Here we go. While walking in downtown Merced yesterday, I met a man who was walking his pet penguin on a leash. I glanced at him and then at the plaintive-sounding beast and asked him how he was able to keep this marvelous animal as a pet. After he responded with a blank stare, I quietly mentioned that he needed to take him to the local zoo here in town. Thinking that was it, I went on my merry way. The next morning, I woke up, got dressed for work, and rushed out the door so quickly that I bumped into the same gentleman with his leashed penguin enjoying a hot espresso at one of the myriad of coffee joints we have stationed downtown. I politely inquired if he remembered me from the previous day. When he acknowledged me in the affirmative, I then questioned him as to why he hadn't taken his pet penguin to the zoo. He simply replied, I did take him to the zoo. Today, I'm taking him to the movies. Comedy. Harder than it looks. Next up, we've got Alan Perry. Thank you, Brian. One for the correct answer. One for the live chat. Alan writes, hey guys, the bar for this week's Haddam is level 107 at Stratosphere. Aaron and I fully intend to stop at the Strat to get a drink and take a pic here, but, well, this is Vegas. We were having too much fun down on Fremont Street and couldn't pry ourselves away. We are making good progress on our Haddam pub crawl list of bars. Loving our time in Vegas. Cheers, Alan Perry, Prescott, Arizona. Thank you, Alan. By the way, Alan is not the first, but he's arguably the most efficient person who has taken our Haddam bars and turned it into a pub crawl just like we have done. Alan has a spreadsheet of every Haddam bar, the location, who won. And I don't remember, Alan, how many of you guys went to this last visit. I think it was 20 in a day, which sounds like a lot, only because it's a lot. And then finally, we've got Pops. Pops gets one for the correct answer. Pops gets one for being in the live chat. And, of course, Pops gets one for this cinematic masterpiece.
Hey kids, this week I'm celebrating an anniversary of sorts. Last week I was saving a copy of my Haddam video for myself and my own records, and I came across this video. That's right, that was from a year ago. I believe I've only missed one Haddam contest since then. The week I rearranged this finger, I didn't send in a video. But ever since last December, that was the first time we saw this.
These nuts!
Yep. These nuts been in every video for the last 9 months. While Scott was playing solo for a while, I had the honor and privilege to have this clip run 8 or 9 times. I lost count. Anyway, just pointing out, been sending in Haddam videos for a year. We've seen some people step up with some show intros and some Haddam videos. Thanks to everybody. It's been a ton of fun. Looking forward to another year doing this bull. See ya.
Pops, you old fuck.
Pops, everybody! I take that back. I don't mean to call you an old fuck. I don't think I needed the descriptive. You're just a fuck. Okay. Whoops. What the hell was that? Oh, look at that. That's a good way to break the fucking try. I still got my camera? Good. Okay, here we go. All right. A lot of people are voting for Pops to win on this one. He's got quite a few entries. But Shotnesses have quite a few as well. And the Perrys have 3. This is going to be an interesting one. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our winner. Let's go down deep. There it is, right there. What do we got? Our winner is Bob068 from Pittsburgh. Congratulations, Bob. Way to go. You get yourself a hat, or a visor, I should say, or one of our cool CDs, or a drink on your brother Scott. All right. Let's look at this week's Have a Drink on Me. And here are our clues. Clue number 1. I've complained about how this place changed the front of the casino that it's in. But I'll tell you, once you get inside, it's a kick. Hit number 1, I've complained about how this place changed the front of the casino. But once you get inside, it's a kick. Hit number 2. If you were Russian, you would say, Mista Laguska. If you were Russian, you would call this place Mista Lagushka. How about that, you bilingual bastards? And hit number 3. It's a perfect place for you Spanish amphibians out there. Hit number 3. It's the perfect place for you Spanish amphibians out there. If you know the name of this here location, you're going to send the email to haveadrink@vegasvideonetwork.com. Again, have a drink at vegasvideonetwork.com. All right. Super big thanks to the live chat. You guys made the show possible. Thanks so much for playing along. Hey, if you wanted to send us an email, you're going to send it to onairq@livinginlv.com. Again, onairq@livinginlv.com. Oh, if you want to send us a voicemail, that's easy enough to do as well. Here, you just go to our homepage, and you click the little orange tab, and you click the start recording, and you start recording stuff because I'm not the drunk guy. By the way, we're on iTunes. Hey, leave us a 5-star review. That would be great. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, share us with all your friends and family and all that good stuff. Hey, we're on Roku with over 32,200 accounts installed. We're on Stitcher, TuneIn, Chromecast, Apple, Google, and Fire TV. We're on Google Play, and of course, the Vegas Video Network. Thanks everybody for playing along. We'll see you guys next week on the Living in Las Vegas podcast on the Vegas Video Network. Take care. Go. Stick it.